Every line of code is a liability.
We haven't seen the repercussions yet at a large scale of writing garbage code. They actually don't own anything. Like, they have no moat. They're just a middleman.
Okay, my take is that it's complete nonsense. Like, I'm not dismissing what you said, but...
And we're back. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, back to another episode of The Good Thing. It's been a while. Sorry, guys. Last 3 weeks have been absolutely insane. So 4th of July, team retreat, and then I think Jens was on vacation and I was sick. So back, we got some amazing topics today. As always, I'm with my co-host Jens. Jens, how you doing today?
I'm okay.
As usual. He's okay. But yeah, we're back. We got some great topics today. I've actually been missing the podcast. There's been some really exciting topics happening. So we're going to be talking about Cursor. We're going to be talking about what's been happening with Next.js, Lee Rob leaving. What else? We have a bunch of stuff. Claude Code is now available as a VSCode extension. Ooh, the next generation of GraphQL Federation speaks gRPC. That's a big one. And then PlanetScale now supports Postgres. Me and Jens were actually chatting about this, about how company we know is getting just absolutely annihilated now because Sam's he's just a metalhead. Like, I feel like the developer world of like database people, they're like the relation of metalheads. People that like hardcore metal, they like hardcore headbanging and things like that. So a lot of topics today. Jens, which one are you most excited about? We'll start with that one.
Most excited. Do you remember when PlanetScale announced that they do some layoffs, and then they wanted to shrink the company a bit and focus and not go like on raising too much money and stuff like that? I was a little bit concerned, but I always had a feeling that Sam creates a company that really cares about engineering, and I think it's paying off. Like, I can totally see how PlanetScale eventually they will completely own database, and
Do you remember
they are
what
pretty good.
Do you remember what the name of the blog post was?
Which one?
The one that Sam wrote. Like, when he had the layoffs, he got a lot of backlash for the blog post he wrote, and I remember it because it was a crazy title.
Don't remember.
So it was called PlanetScale Forever. And he made those layoffs so that PlanetScale would predate him. He wanted it to go on forever, and he said these are necessary. We need to cut everything that's not related to our core mission, everything that's not going to make PlanetScale stay around forever. And somebody the other day on Twitter, they were like, how can you talk about a successful startup company? And they posted the LinkedIn insights, and it shows a decline. And Sam replied an incline of revenue. And he's like, we trimmed what's not necessary, and we're only focusing on what is. But I think it's a good one. Let's talk a little bit about PlanetScale. So I'll bring up the tweet, and then we can kind of just dive into it. But basically,
by the way, I find it so weird that there's this weird fight going on between PlanetScale and Neon.
But do you think it's a so fight? Weird. Do you think it's a fight though?
I'm not sure. This whole like, hey, show me your availability graph.
Yeah, but basically, if you guys haven't seen, so PlanetScale now supports Postgres, which is pretty crazy because PlanetScale is built on, what is it? The tech stack. It's something crazy, and then it supports, I think, MySQL. Which is it?
So PlanetScale, it's built on top of Vitess, which is, let's just say it's an extension to MySQL. It was developed by YouTube, and it essentially allows you to shard MySQL. Sharding, in very simple terms, means you take a table, and this table would be too big because you're YouTube and you have too much data, like too many videos, too many users. So you can put an extra column on a table, and for example, let's say a country, and then you shard the video table by country. That means you split the table into multiple tables by country, and this way the shards, they are smaller, and that means you can put more data and you can scale out. Because imagine you are YouTube and you have a table and it's so big that it doesn't fit on one machine anymore because it's too big for the machine. So you need to
Yeah.
figure out, okay, how can I somehow scale this database across like multiple servers? And then there's this concept of sharding, and YouTube built Vitess, and PlanetScale picked up Vitess and turned it into a company. And I think from the blog post I read, they are now working on a new algorithm, a new implementation to bring sharding to Postgres. So
I
then there will be
you're right.
infinitely scalable Postgres on top of PlanetScale. I think that's good stuff.
Let me bring up the blog post because I think you're right. So sharding isn't a thing you can do currently in PlanetScale or in Postgres?
There are solutions for sharding with Postgres, and there's some competition to do it, but it's not like super widely used. Like if you scroll down a bit, I think they mentioned some providers. Scroll this page.
Yeah, but just real quick, this is badass. The world's fastest Postgres hosting platform, and then boom, they already announce it with a customer case study. Badass.
Yeah, pretty smart. We like that. Yeah, here you see there's Amazon Aurora, Alloy DB, Neon, Superbase, Heroku, Crunchy Data, and Tega Data. So, some of them are not doing sharding, but yeah, like some do. Like Aurora has some sort of sharding. I think Alloy DB, and yeah, I think it's pretty interesting what PlanetScale is doing. It's good for everybody who wants to have a relational database.
Do you see this though? We've consistently outperformed every Postgres product on the platform, even when giving the competition 2x the resources. Holy shit.
It's a little bit unfair because if you go back, there's this blog post about PlanetScale Metal, and essentially what PlanetScale does is they figured out a way of running the database, running them with a locally attached NVMe drive, which it's very hard to beat if you have a network attached hard drive.
But they're building some hardcore engineering. Like this is some pretty badass
Absolutely
stuff.
Yeah.
Question for you though, what do you think, like, not every company is a YouTube. Not every company needs that amount of data and sharding. Do you think by being so hardcore that they cut down on their available market? Or do you think that we're now adding Postgres, basically they're going to be the database for big companies?
Can you go to the pricing page?
Yeah, one sec. Oops, wrong page. Let's go to pricing.
Okay, let's see. Where can we start? What's the starting point? 39 bucks.
Yeah.
With the 10 gigabyte database.
Yep.
I mean, why not? I would totally buy it.
Jeez.
Yeah, 1500 gigabytes. It costs you something, but starting with 39 bucks. I mean, if you want to have a reliable database, why not? Click on Metal. This gives us more IOPS. Click on Metal. Okay, so if you want to have a super fast database, it starts at, scroll down.
It's actually right here, 600 bucks.
Yeah, but is it the total cost?
609, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's the question. So I guess this is not for everybody, but if you have a serious thing going, then yeah, you should definitely think about it. I mean, if you build an app and it's latency sensitive, and let's say you have 100 milliseconds latency, and let's say of that 100 milliseconds, 30 milliseconds is database, and you can cut it down to 5, it could be worth it. If you're in e-commerce something, this will immediately pay back.
I mean, check this out though. 64 GB CPUs, 512 gigabyte memory. What is it? GB NVMs?
That's the drives, the locally attached drives.
And damn, 23,000 a month, and then if you add a little bit more, 44. It's kind of cool. You can see the entire pricing here.
Yeah, they also don't do weird enterprise pricing. So I don't know. I think you for $600 you get an insanely fast database. If you have an operation that needs a fast database, sure, that can make sense.
But look at this. Like if you wanted to shard it, you're looking at 16 shards, 1 million a month. I mean,
Yeah, okay.
damn.
You have like you chose a lot of compute and everything.
I mean, it's pretty incredible though how they just show you everything on here.
Yeah, but
And then I guess
I don't
for
know.
enterprise, it's if you want to bring your own cloud. So what does that mean? Like you don't use their cloud?
You can deploy them into your cloud.
This is pretty badass. No, I think what they're building over at PlanetScale is pretty amazing. I mean, look at these companies. They got some high.
Yeah.
Oh, Cursor, that's badass.
Go back to this blog post about Postgres.
Here.
Because I figured there's something interesting. Search for the term proprietary.
Proprietary?
Yeah. You see, PlanetScale for Postgres uses real Postgres running on our proprietary operator, blah, 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 query buffering and connection pooling via our proprietary proxy layer, PS Bouncer. So they have a bunch of proprietary stuff, and I think it's pretty smart what they're doing. Like Vitesse, it's open source, but their operator, it's not open source. The PS Bouncer is not open source, so there's a moat, and I think they understand their value, and yeah, I think they are doing it pretty. Other companies like, for example, let's say the Elasticsearch, they had this issue with licensing and AWS and something, and to me it seems like PlanetScale, they figured out a great way where to draw this open source proprietary line. Like nobody will complain about, hey, you have this proprietary PS Bouncer. People will just want to use it, and I can deploy it in my own account or something. So I don't know. Good service, good company. I'm a fan, honestly.
And that's the Jens recommendation seal. Jacob, we need if you ever seen, there's this YouTuber where like when he approves of a video game, it stamps like a big stamp. So it's like Sam's approval. We need one for Jens. If Jens approves of a company, whoosh, stamp.
Yeah.
No, I'm honestly in the same way too. Go ahead.
Sometimes I see posts from Sam on Twitter, and I'm like, I'm not sure if I like this person. I don't know. They are special in a way, but at the same time, it seems like they are doing a lot of stuff right. And I also heard that someone wrote on LinkedIn that if you join a startup and the CEO is not a little bit intense, then probably it's in the wrong company. And I know for myself, I'm also not an easy person. Like I care about stuff. I have opinions, and I have experience, and I think if you want to build a successful startup and the CEO is not weird in some way or crazy in some way, I don't think it's a good sign. So yeah, kudos to Sam. He's building something great.
I agree. I do want to though see if we can find his tweet where he just kind of roasted. Hold on, where is it?
He roasts what?
Where he roasts basically somebody's like, what's the difference between you and Neon or whatever?
Ah. Yeah.
I mean, to be honest though, like uptime is a pretty tough thing. Like it's really, really hard. I mean, have you been seeing what's been happening with like Terso? Like for the past couple months, they've had some pretty bad outages. And then you have somebody like Sam. Check this out. To the right, it says, people ask what's unique about the PlanetScale Postgres product. here's one thing. This is a direct dig towards Neon, but look at this, 100% uptime. Granted, it is from April, but still, in between April and July 2025, there have been Neon outages. So I think also I'm a fan. You do have to be intense as a founder, but this is pretty badass.
Do you know how you achieve that? Like, do you know what is behind this?
A lot of hard work and dedication and great engineering, but that's all I could say to it. What is it? Give us a little insight context.
So I think what's crazy about this is you cannot achieve this level of high availability if you are in a single zone, because there's always like glitches or something. So there's a lot of engineering behind it, and then I think platform engineering wise, they are pretty decent. They have figured out, like, I don't know how they are completely redundant on like so many layers, and then they obviously work on VTest, so they merge changes, which also means they must have a pretty good workflow process, whatever, for testing, for bringing in changes. Like I think in general there must be a very good engineering culture, because if you don't have like staging environments and everything, and then a lot of redundancy and good process for verification of code changes and everything, good testing, then you would never see those numbers.
You know what we should do? Note for Jacob. We should try to get Sam on the podcast and just talk to him about like hardcore engineering. Like, what are you guys doing over at PlanetScale?
Yeah,
like, this
would
is
be
insane.
interesting. Like, what's behind this graph? Like, how does a company need to look like from the inside to achieve this?
And I think the total headcount for them, I could be wrong, if someone could double check for me, but I think it's like 40 or 50 people, or like 40 or 50 engineers at least, which is, to achieve this, it's incredible. So official approval of Jens's stamp. I approve.
Yeah, we have an emoji in our Slack. It's colon impressed, and then we have a second one. It's colon unimpressed, and both are a picture of me, and it's the same picture.
I mean, it tells us it's the German roots in there, but I love it.
Yeah.
Let's get on to a topic though that's not pretty happy. So this is pretty crazy.
We can also take the happy path first. Should we talk about someone leaving Vercel?
Okay. So let me bring up the tweet. Yes. All right. Hold up. But give us a little bit of context. So everybody knows this person. Just left Vercel. Let me bring up the tweet so we can actually see it. This is actually pretty insane.
I would say he redefined what developer advocacy means, right?
Well, so I had a weird opinion. So in 2021, I met a bunch of developer advocates, and I hated that whole profession. Like, you just make to-do apps, you just make like whatever. You say I'm a developer advocate. I just write blog posts. I totally agree. I think Lee Robinson, like what he did for Vercel, was insane. I think he was one of their most critical components. It's crazy to me that he's leaving though. Like, Vercel just did like a Series D, I think. I could see them going for an IPO path, but intense.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I don't know. I have a lot of respect for Lee. I think he did great work. I think he helped a lot make Next.js what it is until a certain point. I slowly start to see some cracks in Next.js. Like, there's some controversies now, like Vercel moving back and forth, Vercel moving more into AI and other things. But overall, I think Lee really has shaped what we know today is like web dev and developer advocacy. So I think he did a great job. 5 years with Vercel, so that kind of indicates he might be fully vested. Another part is you would typically stay inside a company if you're expecting to get like more shares, or that you can significantly increase the value of your shares. It seems like this is not the case for Lee, and maybe there's other opportunities maybe in the AI space. I don't know. I could totally see how he's starting tomorrow with Anthropic or whatever. Like I don't know, but yeah, it seems like things are going well for him. Congratulations on this run. I think he did pretty well. Yeah, like
Does he get
good
does he
guy.
get the stamp? Does he get the stamp of approval?
Absolutely.
Yeah. I also want to go through his blog post. So I think it's got some good stuff into here. For example, go hard at work, then go home. So he talks a little bit here about like going hard at Vercel, and he adds pictures. This one is really cool. Everything can be done faster. I really, really, really like this one. What would you say,
I
Jens?
think he also has a kid now, right?
Yeah, he also has a kid. Yeah, this one I like. Everything can be done faster. Scale or die trying. Pretty cool. This is a great one. He's got some good stuff into there.
Yep.
Guys, I recommend reading it. We'll drop it below into the notes. But congratulations, Lee. I'm excited to see where he goes. How much you want to bet he goes to an AI company? Should we bet?
In this climate, so maybe he leaves tech, maybe he starts a farm,
Yeah.
or he goes into AI.
I think he goes to AI. I think he's going to go to OpenAI, Anthropic, maybe Cursor. He'll probably. How much do you want to bet he goes to Cursor?
That's a problem with Cursor. Like, it's not the most liked company at the moment anymore.
Good transition. Good transition. So
That
honestly, that was
we didn't plan this transition. It happened.
yeah, we didn't. So yep, Jens is right. Let me bring up the article.
By the way, Jacob, the good thing logo sits on top of Stefan's name.
Well, once
Like,
I start sharing it, it goes to normal.
then it moves to the right. Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah. Oh,
Okay.
there we go.
See, it's improving. Magic.
Right, get rid of this stupid ad.
Okay.
Okay, so walk me through what happened. You brought it up. I saw it. I was messing around with Cursor this week, but basically they just kind of changed their pricing and just kind of like messed a lot of things up.
But
I think
not once.
twice. Walk us through what happened.
Yeah, there's a I think there's a Reddit thread. It describes it best, and we have the Reddit link somewhere.
Yeah, let's go to that
So
one.
essentially, there was an unlimited plan or like a pro plan, and somehow it wasn't really unlimited, and suddenly it was like 500 requests in a month, and then it was like 200 something requests in a month, and then yeah, they kept changing pricing and everything, and I think it's pretty interesting because it shows two topics, or there's like two threads I would talk about. One thread is I had a discussion a while ago with a VC, and we were talking about, okay, you're bringing up something. Let's take a look. Cursor. Okay, we missed the mark. Yes, but they kind of missed it multiple times. Go to the second post, second answer, maybe. I don't know. Here, okay. GitHub Copilot gives you 300 Sonnet requests for $10, and you have $20, and then you get something like 40 requests in 5 hours or every 5 hours. So there's cracks in the business model. And Cursor, they raise a lot of money. And coming back to the two threads, yeah, here this is interesting. They had like 225 Sonnet calls, and then they kept changing it, and it was a whole mess. And I think what's interesting to observe here is two things. So I had this discussion a while ago with the VC, and VC said, and I think this is also something Mark Andreessen said, that bad founders in a good market is still good, and good founders in a bad market is bad, and things like that.
Yeah.
And my point is, I think what we're currently seeing is that we have like founders with very weird behavior in a good market, and they keep changing the licenses, and it's possible that they really harm the company with that kind of behavior. And the second part is, in the beginning there was like a lot of talk about how Cursor is just an AI wrapper and they don't have a Moat, and so on and so forth. And now it seems like they are under pressure. It seems like they are not really figuring out the business model. They are tweaking it, and I think there's a lot of evidence that behind the scenes something is going really, really badly, and they try to figure out how can they make money, and it seems like it's currently tough for them. I know that VCs pump a lot of money into AI coding tools, like Anthropic, for example. My big question is, what is the real cost of an AI coding tool, and can we justify the margins and everything? Like in the long term, will a tool like Cursor, will it actually work, or is the business model so broken that if VC money goes dry, then it doesn't work anymore? So I think these are big questions. Stefan, what are your thoughts?
I'm just like kind of reading these comments. Like, one, you have to give them like benefit of the doubt. Like, they're what, 25, 26, 27. Like, they're young guys, 4 co-founders. They've built this rocket ship that's absolutely exploded, and then now, they're trying to figure it out. How much have they raised? They've raised over like, I think, $1 billion something in funding. They're at like 500 million ARR. I'm just confused with that many people and success. Why wouldn't you like try to figure out the pricing, test it, A/B test it, take your time with it? But 3 times in the span of a month, they mess it up. I don't get it. I don't understand.
The other question is, the normal playbook would be you raise all that money, you capture the entire market, and then you figure out the business model. And it feels like they are like, I can only imagine that they must be under extreme pressure to make these changes, because I don't know, maybe they are losing so much money.
You know what's crazy? I was actually reading a blog post about this. Somebody said that this is the new age of the tech is not there yet. So what that means is you raise a bunch of money and your goal is to completely own the market, and then the product and the tech will get there. So for example, Cluely, Cursor, and Icon. Have you seen
By the
what
way,
Icon is?
you can close this if we're just talking.
Yeah. So Icon is this AI video generation for ads. Then you got Cluely, that cheating tool, and then you got Cursor, which is we raise a bunch of money, we completely own the market, and then the product and the tech will catch up. But you want to own the market first by being there first and owning it with the money, which is what Cursor could have done. But now, if you're reading the comments, they've already pissed off a lot of people, and you have Open Router. You have all these open source projects coming out now. You have Claude with the API keys, everything. They're kind of killing their own market share, which is we've raised the 900 million. Why not just keep going and owning the market? I don't get it. I think you're right on that.
Yeah, you want to have the biggest market share, you want to have the best tech. So hire the best people, improve the tech, and don't lose to alternatives. And with this behavior, they push people away. I don't know, this can go really badly. Currently I see everybody talking about like how they go to Claude, so they go to Anthropic. And correct me if I'm wrong, but Anthropic has their own models and Cursor has no models. Does Cursor have models?
I don't think Cursor has any models. I think that's what they raised the money for, was to build their own models, which is going to be tough, especially in this climate right now and like the head start these companies have, but they don't have their own models. I don't think so.
Yeah. My prediction, this will consolidate and the winner will be someone, for example, Microsoft, who has hardware, who can offer Copilot or agent coding at reasonable pricing, and they will win this war. Like Microsoft has so much money, they they can wait. They don't have to make money tomorrow. They can take a long-term bet, no problem. And yeah, with this much pressure and this kind of behavior, or like, I'm not sure about the pressure, but I can only get the impression from the outside that if you make these rushed price changes that push people away, then something is going wrong inside.
You know what's crazy? This goes back to the social network or Facebook. Everyone's seen that movie. I mean, just the story of Facebook's amazing. But do you remember very early on, the business guy was like, we need to start making money. We need to start charging for ads. And the guy was like, no, ads are uncool. You want to get as many people as you want onto the Facebook. No ads. And they did for years and years and years and years, no ad. They didn't even have a business model. They brought in that Sandy lady who's going to figure out the business model. But the goal was get everybody on Facebook. I think they had 1 billion people on Facebook before they even started to make money. And it's the same thing as they first owned the market. Cursor, like what you're seeing right now with Vercel, or not with Vercel, with OpenAI, is like they're bleeding money. That's why they're raising so much, but they're going and trying to own the complete market. And what's crazy about Microsoft, with what you said is true, is they're moving slowly on purpose because one, a flip of a button, and now they have AI code reviewers. So now every company built on like AI code reviewing is dead. Why? Because it's built into GitHub, it's built into VSCode. Second, they actually have the data centers. They actually can build their own models. They can acquire companies that they want. So I think you're right. At the end of the day, the guy from Comma, he's a really funny founder. He said there's 5 tiers in this AI war. There's the companies that matter, which are NVIDIA, Microsoft, Google, whatever. And then you go one layer down, and then you have the OpenAIs, the Anthropic, the Claudes. And then you go one layer down, he goes, these are the useless companies. You have Windsor, you have these, because they actually don't own anything. Like they have no moat. They're just a middleman. And the 2 layers above can demolish them at any point. It's going to be interesting to see how this plays out in a couple of years.
I mean, they have something. They have distribution. Distribution can also be useful, but you know the graph Slack versus Teams. Like you don't even need to have a better product. If you have the distribution, you can absolutely win. But in this case, what it means is, I think it's no comparison if you think about the distribution of Cursor versus VS Code. Like probably like VS Code, I don't know, has so much more market share. And if they offer Copilot for a reasonable amount, and then let's say you buy Microsoft products, and you get, let's say you buy a Microsoft license for $100, and for $5 or $10 more, you also get AI capabilities. So you now pay $110, and you get all this stuff. You get Teams and whatever, and a Zoom alternative, and blah blah blah, and all this bundled together. And now there's like a startup, and they want to sell you AI coding for $50, and then the CFO will be like, guys, we have 10,000 employees. It's not going to happen. We already have Microsoft. You will use VS Code, and that's it. Boom. End of story.
I always go back to this because a lot of people are always like, you should build a following first, and then you should build a product. Distribution is key. Distribution is key. And I kind of disagree with that because, like, if you look back at all the best founders, they didn't have a huge Twitter profile. They didn't have a lot of followers. Jeff Bezos was a nobody. Elon Musk was a nobody. Peter Thiel, a nobody. Every great founder didn't have a following. And the same thing with Microsoft is they have distribution now, but they had the best product before. Like, I think you have to fundamentally build a good product. OpenAI, 8 years they spent building a product. Sam Altman had a following, and he didn't even talk about it because he spent all his time on product. I think at the end of the day, I will always, maybe I'll change my opinion in a couple of years, but for me, I think companies that are building this distribution and this model, it doesn't work out because at the end of the day, you actually have to have the best product. I mean, best example, let's talk about Neon and PlanetScale. Like, Neon had crazy distribution. People loved it. They were doing it, whatever. But PlanetScale is the better product. And now it's absolutely crushing. So I don't know. I'm more on the product side. I think the product is more important than the distribution. Distribution matters later.
But you kind of made a counter argument to yourself, because Neon did an exit for over $1 billion. And what did PlanetScale do?
Well, they made an exit in stock to $1 billion, and that's at Databricks or whatever. And we also don't even know if it was cash. We don't even know if it was a successful, like an exit. We don't know that. PlanetScale,
Would you not
profitable
take
company.
Microsoft stock?
No, it's Databricks.
Is it Databricks?
Yeah,
I thought
yeah.
Microsoft.
No, Microsoft invested into them, and then Databricks acquired them.
Ah, I see. Okay. No,
But it depends.
I'm
It
not sure.
depends on like what you consider success. Like PlanetScale eventually could IPO and they could be a public company and they built a better product. The VC game is weird. For me, I just think product is better, which is weird because you're a product guy. I thought you would agree.
But it's also interesting because PlanetScale also has a risk. They have VC investment. So at some point, something needs to happen. Either and I don't see PlanetScale going IPO. I don't think they will have that level of revenue. So it must be an acquisition, but I'm not sure who would acquire that.
Good point.
We need to see how old PlanetScale is and when was the last round, because after a couple of years, investors want to get returns. But I would have to dig into who are the lead investors and what's their behavior, and then you can kind of see what's going to happen with PlanetScale in the future.
Yeah. And to kind of add to this, hold up. I think this is great. Man, we are on our what is it called? Our transitions, our segments are pretty good. Check out what the next topic is.
What's the next topic?
It's so funny.
I don't even know.
So it talks about what we've been talking about, distribution versus product. Speaking of that, check out what VSCode just added. So now you get Anthropic Claude Sonnet 4 and Claude Opus 4 are now available in GitHub Copilot. So they've already started distributing out to VSCode. And they're doing this on purpose. If you already saw, you can now get AI code review within GitHub. Microsoft owns GitHub. They own the biggest place that all developers are. You are a developer if you're on GitHub. They've already started this, I would say this stomping is what they're going to start doing, is crushing these AI companies. Have you read the blog post? What do you think about it?
But this means you can use Claude in VSCode.
Correct. Yeah, they added an extension.
Which is good for Anthropic, right?
Good for Anthropic, yes, and good for Microsoft as well.
I mean, I think GitHub makes a smart move here, or Microsoft in general with Copilot, because they don't have their own models. They just leverage the distribution and they bring all the good models. They have contracts with the good providers like Gemini, OpenAI, and Claude. I don't know. It's pretty smart. I mean, GitHub has another problem because there's this discussion going on between the CEO of GitHub, who posts on Twitter that developers are not going away, and I think that's a pretty controversial thing, because CEO of GitHub says that developers, AI will not kill developers. Obviously it is what this person has to say, otherwise he would harm GitHub, because GitHub is a tool for devs. I'm super curious what direction GitHub is going on the long term. My personal opinion, and I don't know, I have a limited knowledge in the field, but my current observation is that LLMs help good developers to get more stuff done. So my current take is developers are not going anywhere. I see it in our company, and I have some observations with tools like Cursor. Yeah, exactly, Jacob. Thank you. GitHub CEO says the smartest companies will hire more software engineers, not less, as AI develops. So that's what he's saying. My observation currently is that LLMs are cool and they help you write code, a lot of code. but you still need very good developers. You still need senior devs. You still need people who guide the LLM to do the right thing. Like, it's so easy to generate garbage code with LLM that looks right but is wrong. And one other topic I wanted to bring up, you keep seeing these posts that, like, just like 2 days ago, I saw that someone posted somewhere that Google is now, or at Google, there's now more than 50% of the code is written by LLMs.
That was Salesforce.
Okay, so
Yeah.
okay. Well, what's your take on this post? Because I think I will have a different one. I have a
Okay, so
What do you
my
think?
take is Salesforce is pushing their like AI CRM called Agentforce, and I think if you say it again, so 50% of all the code at Salesforce is being written by AI. I think it just means that they're 50% faster because the developers are using AI. Not that AI is writing the code and it's adding to it, but I think he's trying to say is that developers are more productive, but he's spinning it that I've replaced 50% of my workforce with AI. That's my take on it. Are you on the same one or no?
Okay, my take is that it's complete nonsense. Like, I'm not dismissing what you said, but so here's my take. Let's say your company writes 100 lines of code per day in total. And if we now say that we write 50% of the code with AI, with LLMs, you would assume that tomorrow, when this is right, that we would now write 50 lines of code with AI and 50 lines of code with humans. That's what you would assume, right?
Yeah.
But my observation is completely different. My observation is that LLMs have a tendency to just write a lot of code. They don't reuse code in smart ways. They don't understand the entirety of your code base. So my assumption is that yesterday, the humans wrote 100 lines of code. Then they discovered that they can now use AI, and suddenly they are writing like 200 lines of code in a day. The problem is, it doesn't mean that these new 100 lines of code are equally good or even better. It's just we are now writing more code. And I'm telling you, experienced developers know this. Every line of code is a liability. Like, ideally, you could be a billionaire with 0 lines of code, because if you have code, you have to test it, you have to maintain it, technical debt, blah, 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 blah. So actually, I think, and then I'm very curious to see this, but I would like to know, like, from companies, if everybody's now using Cursor, is the amount of code that you write, is it growing faster? So does it mean you're now writing more code, more verbose code, or something? Because that means you're essentially the liability grows faster. So this take of 50% of the code, we're now writing it with LLMs. I'm curious in a sense that, like, first of all, how do you measure that? And second, I'm not sure if it's a totally positive trend, to be honest. And I can also speak from my personal experience. We have different code bases. Recently, I wrote some code in our GraphQL engine. Our GraphQL engine, it's so complicated that I don't use Cursor to write code in it, because it doesn't make sense. It doesn't get what we're doing there. So I'm just writing it by hand. And then we have a CLI, and I added a new command, and the code, the existing code, it didn't really, I don't know, it didn't feel like this is the most amazing code. So I was like, okay, whatever, I just use Cursor for that, and it generates and generates and blah blah blah. And it's quite verbose. But my real question is, like, is the code that is written by AI, like, is it really, like, more valuable? Or, better questions I would ask is, if you use LLMs to write code, is it more reliable? Is the code faster? Are we shipping faster? Are we saving time? And you also have to offset this against the cost for the LLM. So I think it's more than just saying we're now writing 50% of our code with AI.
I think you're spot on with that. Also, recently we were working with a very big company, and they submitted a PR. And what did you say today? You're like, what the hell? This is just cursor garbage or something. That we had to go back and review it. And I think we're starting to see a lot of that. Like we work with some pretty big companies, and they're starting to use cursor. But if you remember, I think a year and a half ago, Klarna, that big like pay later company, they said we've replaced 80% of our customer support and the customer success with AI. It's all going to be AI. 1 year later, we messed up. We're sorry. And they've hired back all the customer success people. I think we haven't seen the repercussions yet at a large scale of writing garbage code. I really don't think so. And I'll give you a thing. Like, for example, yesterday I was messing around with Cursor and I'm like building like some small, like, if you remember Skyrim, they have this like constellation where you can like up level. And I was just building that for myself. Maybe I can like track my progress into there. And it's great at that. It's great at building very simple, fun stuff. But I cannot see it building complex where code bases where you ever see the notes where it's like, please don't remove this. I don't know why, but this function makes sure that our company runs. Please don't remove it. It's like, if we cannot understand it, how do you expect Cursor to be like, oh, this function does this? Like the guy's literally like, if we remove this, the entire website will break. We don't know why. Please don't remove this. Like what?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Also, in a similar direction, one thing I observed in the GraphQL subreddit, and you might see it in other subreddits as well. I haven't checked, but there was a guy who posted in like 24 hours. He posted 2 new repositories that solved different problems, and you always see the same pattern. It's like you see from the description, it has like emojis, and it's like, yeah, you know immediately, okay, this is AI generated, and we see this new trend, and I really hate it, honestly, that people are like, oh, there's a little problem, I create a library with it, I cursor it together, and then they publish it. So I think we currently see a lot of like low quality things, and then under one of such repositories there was a comment like, hey, are you implementing like the full GraphQL spec? And then the response was kind of like, I don't know, it's working for these cases here, I have tests. And yeah, you can clearly see that there's not just positive effects of having tools like Cursor.
Yeah, and I think we'll definitely start to see more and more. It's an interesting environment that we're in right now. I'm always wondering, like, I'm seeing it also in film. Like, people are starting to add AI into film, and like, if you can add AI to help edit faster, so that way you can make movies faster, that's great. But if you start adding AI actors and you start killing that essence of film, like film is an art, programming is an art. Like you should use tools that speed it up. But if you kill the very essence of that art, like what do you have? Kind of sucks.
Which leads a little bit into the direction that we're going with WunderGraph as a company, because what we kind of figured out is that Cursor and AI coding tools, they are great. They are great at solving some problems, but we believe like the real problem, and we get a lot of positive feedback from the market where we are showing our new product. We get a lot of feedback that the real problem is collaboration. Like I think what is going to happen with AI is that we will see like more and more parts of software, or more and more parts of software development. We will automate them, we will make them faster, and so on and so forth. But the real I think the real bottleneck is better collaboration. So for example, if you take the whole journey of creating software, and going from like, I have a product owner, they have new requirements, they go to the designer, they now have a design. From this design, you have to figure out like what kind of APIs do I need to solve that problem. Then you have the the API definition, you need to figure out like what services should implement that. Then you kind of block the front end team because there's no service running yet. So you need to think about how can I provide mocks that can take a lot of time on the backend guys. So this whole journey, we kind of figured out that it's very hard to actually go through that. And if you give people Cursor, it means if I have the perfect spec for my front end and if I have the perfect spec for my backend, okay, I can now build it a little bit faster. Like it's not taking like 3 days anymore. It's just taking like 1 day or half a day. But the real problem was coming to the spec, coming to, okay, here's our design. What API do we need? And then you have this API definition. What kind of which services should own that logic? How do we distribute that?
Yes.
And then task management, like how do I ensure that I'm implementing all the right parts? Meanwhile, how can I unblock front end guys to work on that? So all these kind of problems, and that's something we figured as a company we want to solve that. So we're currently building a solution to help with this whole journey. And yeah, I think that's pretty interesting. Stefan, what are your thoughts on what we're currently building, and what kind of feedback did you get from the market so far?
Good question. But first, I remember one time I was talking to a very he IPO'd a company, very successful founder, and he started a new company. I was like, why are you starting a new company? Like, you IPO'd, you can do whatever you want in the world. And he's like, I wanted to build this product because I think the world needs it. Not that I think it needs it, but the world must have it. It must have this product because I have to. And it's like, he's like, I felt I was put on this earth to solve that problem. And as long as I've known Jens, but I fundamentally think that the product that we're building, it's not we're doing this to get rich, but it's a thing that we're building this product because the world needs this product. It needs the end-to-end business platform product to build digital products, or however we end up wording it. And what I've seen in the calls is you might be having a rough day. You go into this call, you show this new product. And when you're showing a new product, like, your anxiety is pretty high because you've taken something from your head, you've put it out there into the world, and you don't know if they'll understand it. You don't know if they'll get it. Sometimes people are like, wait, what? But then somebody's like, oh my God, you don't know how many times I've done this. You don't know how many tools I've used to do this. And you're like, oh, okay. Like, so they also have experienced the pain what I've done. And then somebody else is like, this is amazing. Do you have plans for this? And then you're like, yes. And then they're like, okay, how much? And what you've quickly realized is like, holy crap, somebody actually wants this. And I think that's what's the joy of entrepreneurship, is like, that little thing is like a little rocket boost. It's like a little, like, like shot of adrenaline. And then you go into another company and they're like, oh my God, I also have the same problems as that other company, but they don't know each other. They've never spoken to each other, but they have the exact same problem and they start doing the exact same thing. So what I've seen is right now with this product that we're building, it really is beautiful. Just coming out of a creation and then having the people use it, and we're going to be releasing it soon internally to our customers. It's going to be fantastic. Let's jump though, if you're okay with it, because I do want to talk about the last 10 minutes, which is kind of relates to this new product, which
we're almost at time, right?
Do we have time to talk about it, or should we just keep talking about our new product and hinting at it?
We can talk next week about the other thing.
But Jens, if you can, without giving too much, like, what was the biggest issue that you saw with these companies? Like, and also, like, how did you see it? Like, everyone knows our history. We were about to die. We pivoted into Federation. We exploded. Everything's going great. But that was never the end goal. The goal was never to stay there. Like, how did you see it?
So it was like 2 years ago, and we were building. We built the WunderGraph SDK, which is a backend for front-end framework. That was kind of like my invention. I wouldn't really say invention. By the way, you keep popping against your microphone. You really need to stop doing that.
Pop.
Okay.
It's my mic when I go here.
Yeah, it's that. Okay, so we were building WunderGraph SDK, the backend for frontend thing, and was my invention. I really liked it. Everybody liked it. Nobody wanted to pay for it. Long story short, this was a great product, and it didn't help us to build a great company. Okay, so yeah, we were running out of money. We still had like, I don't know, like half a year or something left.
Yeah, 4 or 5.
roughly. So okay, like two and a half years ago, we said, okay, pivot. What are we pivoting? And it was very funny. It was like Stefan. He had like a black notebook,
No,
like a
red,
real
red,
notebook. Do you have it still?
So if
Is
I can
it
pan my
the
camera,
notebook?
no, it's not the notebook, but I buy the same notebook and I write all my notes and thoughts into it.
Okay.
I have here on my bookshelf just 6 of them. The one that I have
But
is
do
there.
you have the old one still?
Yeah, I do. 1 second. I can find it.
Okay. Yeah, we don't need it. It's fine, but okay.
But it's more fun if I bring it because look. So
Okay.
a bunch of notebooks.
I thought it was black. Was it not black?
No, it's red.
Okay.
Right.
But so we had this notebook. We were on a retreat in the Netherlands on a old sheep farmhouse, and we were like, okay, we're fucked. This is over. We need to pivot. And then Stefan opened the, like, we were all sitting around. We were all sad, and the mood wasn't great. And Stefan was opening his notebook, and he was like, okay, let me see what kind of notes I have. And he figured out that a bunch of people ask us about open source Apollo Federation alternative. And yeah, so okay, what are you gonna do? So we had some money left, some runway left. We were too many people, so we had to part ways with a bunch of people, unfortunately. And then we built Cosmo. That's like 2 years ago or something. And shortly after, I was on a summer vacation with the family. And what typically happens is when I'm on a vacation, I move out of the day-to-day business, and I can never stop thinking about WunderGraph. So I don't know, if I'm not dead, I'm thinking about WunderGraph probably. Sometimes about the family, but most of the time, I don't know. The head just can't stop thinking. Okay, so, and 2 years ago I was on summer vacation with the family, and I had an idea. I called Stefan and I said, Stefan, we will make Cosmo open source.
Yeah.
It's a stupid idea, but we have to, because if we don't do it, someone else will do it. So we just make it open source. And I still remember how I said, we make this thing open source, we get momentum, and once we have momentum, we will figure out the next step. I cannot tell you today what this next step will be, but if we get enough traction, if we get enough customers, we will learn something, we will figure out something, and that will help us then build the next step. And it's a bit like, like it's like building a rocket ship. You have like one stage, it lifts you in the air, and then you have to have a second stage that lifts you somewhere else. The only problem with a startup, you don't have stages, you just have your one stage, and you really have to hope that burning your first stage, you figure out something to create the second stage, because otherwise, yeah, you had a startup.
No, it's beautiful. We are almost at time, so guys, we'll talk a little bit more next week. We're gonna be back regularly. Jens might be going on vacation in August, me too, so we might have some delays there, but we'll figure it out. Jacob, let's really try to get Sam on the podcast. I'll connect you with a couple people. We should bring a really cool guest on here and talk hardcore tech. Jens, I'm happy we're back. I missed the podcast. I missed these conversations. I missed the story. We do have a meeting we need to run to, but guys, thank you so much for joining us today. Yes, they will. Cursor, I barely knew her. And of course, David with the bands. Guys, thank you so much. Have a great weekend, and we will see you next. Oh, wait, just kidding. Wait, Jens, actually, no, what's the good thing?
What's the good thing? Oh, we're back next week.
Yeah, see, it's been so while.
You're out of touch, man.
I'm out of touch. Bye, guys.
Ciao.